Hi guys, welcome to Software Jobs Training. We are on week 4 and day 2. So in this section we are going to cover about loops. Okay, so in programming you will actually find yourself in a place where you need to show the same output again and again, right? So it could be like writing out messages or writing out tables or anything. So anywhere where you need to perform a specific task again and again, and for that we actually use loops. Okay, so here you see an example of a for loop. Okay, so this is going to write up a text 5 times on the screen. Okay, so you can see that this output is actually coming out of the loop that we have written. Okay, so this is quite good. Let's go ahead and discuss this in detail. So the first thing that we need to know is that in JavaScript or any other programming language, we have 4 types of loops. That is for loop, for in loop, while loop, and do while loop. Okay, so they all have the same application. I mean to say that if you need to write something down or show any output on the screen that is repetitive. Okay, so any repetitive task can be done using loops. Okay, so these 4 types of loops, we'll see that what are the main differences between them. So there are no differences in the term of output. Okay, so you're going to they're all used to show the same output on the screen repeatedly or to do repetitive tasks, right? But they have different syntaxes. So let's just go to the slide number 3 and see this for loops. Okay, so for loops are actually the most commonly used types of loops, and they're quite easy as well. So here you can see that it starts up with by writing a keyword that says for, and over here we see some values that are separated by semicolons. Okay, so if you see here, we have written the general syntax. So first of all, you need to do the initialization, and then you need to put a condition and then iteration. Inside the curly braces you need to write the code that you need to execute again and again inside the for loop. Okay, so in these 3 parameters we actually need to specify that from where do we need to start the loop, and until when do we need to run this loop, and what should be the iteration count. So if you look at this, the first one is actually the initialization. So our loop is actually going to start from I is equal to 0, so it is going to start from 0, and it will proceed. It will work until I is less than 5. Okay, so it will work until I is equal to 4. Alright, and how do we this is the iteration counter. Okay, so it is going to increment itself up every time the loop runs in. So basically we have written the code that will run the loop 5 times, because this one is 0. So the first time it will show this output, then it will become 1 output, and 2 output, 3 output, and the 4th one will show the output. Okay, then this condition will actually become false. Okay, because this I is equal to 0 will actually become I is equal to 4, and when it will try to become I is equal to 5, then this condition will actually turn the loop off. Okay, so here we need to initialize, and then we need to tell the limit that until when do we need to run this loop up, and here we need to just specify the iteration counter. Okay, so if you need to run the loop in reverse order, you will have to decrement this up, so it will be I minus minus. So if we go to the slide number 4, you will see that it is explaining the for loops up. So we have already seen that this is the initialization, and then we need to specify that for how long do we need to run our for loop. Okay, and then we need to specify that how this I variable will actually be incremented. So if you want to increment this by 1, you can just put I++, and then inside the curly braces you can just put any code that you need to execute inside the loop. Okay, so we have written the document.write, and it is going to show up on the screen 5 times. Okay, so let's just go to the live editor and see. I'm creating a new file that says loops.html. So here we have our file, and let's start by writing HTML head. Inside the script, I'll say type is equal to text/JavaScript. Okay, so first of all we will have to put the for keyword, and then I need to say that I is equal to 1. Okay, so I'm starting my loop from 1, and it will run up to 10. Okay, so it will run if my I is actually less than 10 or it is equal to 10. So the maximum value it can have is 10, and I'm going to increase my increment my I using a ++ symbol. So this is always going to increase it by 1, and inside the curly braces I can just show any output that I need to write again and again. So this code will actually show this output 10 times on the screen. So let's just save this and run this. So as you can see that this will be actually shown on the screen multiple times. Okay, you can just break this up into put a BR symbol, and it will show up one after each other, because this is all being wrapping up in the same line. So let's just go ahead and put a BR symbol somewhere inside our text. Okay, so inside the document.write you can just write out any HTML code, so you can put paragraphs or anything. So I put a BR symbol just after the string, so every time it will write this up, it will make sure that a BR is actually inserted. Okay, we can also concatenate the variables to them. So let's just go ahead. Alright, so in this way I can just concatenate the value of I, and I can just put the BR in the next document.write, so not a big issue. You can just have it in a different one, or you can simply concatenate to this one. It's just all about personal preferences. So I'm gonna save this up, and you can see that first it shows up the string, and I've concatenated the value of I, and then a BR is actually putting it up in the next line. Okay, so this is the entire output of a for loop. You can show up tables, mathematical tables, or basically anything that you need to be shown on the screen repeatedly. Okay, so you can just use it for your repeated tasks. Alright, now let us go to the slide number 5, and we see the for in loops. The for in loops are the new types of loops that are generally used to access the properties of a given object. Okay, so suppose you have an object where we have like some guy. This is an object, and it has few properties to it. So we have its first name, last name, and age. Over here we have just initialized the text, and this one is blank. So the simple syntax for this for in loop is actually, first you need to define a variable, okay, and then where I in the object name. Okay, what this for loop will do is that it will iterate through each and every element, each and every property of your object. Okay, and transfer them it to something like this some guy. and here you have the index number. Okay, so make sure you put the I inside this, and you can just concatenate it into the single line. So for that we have this text variable, so it will just put the all the things that have been fetched from this object. It will put it into a single line into this variable that says text, and then you can just simply write down the text. Okay, so this is the variable, and it will first show the first name, and then the last name, and then the age. Okay, so it's all very simple to go through an entire object in one go. So for that you will have to use the for in loops. Okay, on slide 6 we will find out while loops. So while loops are very similar to the for loops, but they're just a different syntax for that while loops. So they're also very widely used. They're very as good as using a for loop. Okay, so let's just see that what are these while loops and what do they do. Okay, so in the while loops, first of all you will have to declare a variable. So we have declared a variable x that starts with 0. Okay, so this is actually the starting symbol, the starting point of our loop. Okay, so it is going to start from 0, and then we need to put the condition inside the while parenthesis. So make sure you put the while keyword, and then you need to put the condition inside the curly braces. You can just put any code that you need to execute, but make sure that inside the curly braces you also put the incrementation factor. Okay, so every time this while loop will run, it will actually add 1 to the x. Okay, so each time the x will keep on increasing by 1, and in this way it will execute until this x is actually greater than 10. Okay, so it will not run when the x is more than or equal to 10. Okay, so very similar to the for loops, just that a different syntax to this. Let's just go to the live editor and write down the while loops. So first of all I just need to tell my JavaScript that I need to start my loop from 0, and then we put the while symbol, while keyword, and I want to run it until 5. So, and in curly braces I can just say document.write. I can just put the value of x, so I just need to show the numbers. With this I can also concatenate the br and put a semicolon. Then we need to increment the x right inside the while loop. Here you can put a semicolon. Okay, it is not necessary, so let's just do this without a semicolon. Saving it up and click on view. So over here you can see that my loop is actually running from 0, and remember that I had my condition saying that x should be less than 5, so it will just terminate the loop when I reach 4. Okay, so these were the while loops. Alright, and on slide number 7 we will find the do while loops, and in most of the cases you will actually find the do while loops quite similar to the while loops. Alright, there is just a small difference that do while loop is going to execute itself at least one time before it actually evaluates the condition that you have written. Okay, so if you see this, I've put a variable that equals to 5. Okay, then I just start the do while loop. Alright, for that you will have to write the do keyword and then put the curly braces on. Okay, so inside this just same as the while loop, we just need to write the code that needs to be executed. Okay, so just write down the code. We have done some concatenation in here, and then you write the incrementation factor, and after the curly braces you actually need to write the condition. Okay, so this condition will be actually checked after your loop is actually executed once. Okay, so this will always execute itself at least one time before the condition is checked, and here you just write it as same as we have done in the while loops. So quite sweet and simple. Alright, so I'm going to the slide number 8, and you will find some skill assessments on the loops. Okay, so I'll be skipping this up for you. Alright, so this will actually bring us to the end of the video. So thanks a lot for watching.